paying 150 extra dollars could, suck for a month or two, but getting some extra wine that's all right. That's a good little trade-off.
Right. It
I
wasn't the worst thing that could have happened to me.
Right, exactly. Shit, I prefer red wine usually. I don't know if I have like I don't know if I'm quite fancy enough for like a specific favorite brand, but I typically drink like Merlot red wines, or like I'll drink IPAs, or I'll go
Mhm.
straight to like tequila and stuff like that. We got Jenny. She the first one in here. It's Jenny's birthday today, actually.
Happy birthday,
Yes,
Jenny.
yes, it's Jenny's birthday today. She's one of the regulars with the TYT crew.
I saw you
Yeah.
were on this morning when I was at the gym. I went
Uh
to put up the
yeah.
link on my Twitter and I
Yeah. It's all good. Like I said, we just hopping on and we just gonna do our thing. That's kind of how I like to approach a lot of stuff. You feel me? Especially like once you have like experience with whatever it is, media or
Mhm.
building businesses or whatever it is. You're an attorney, so like just building up cases, you realize things take time. So sometimes it's best to just hop on and just do shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
So
right.
so yeah, but no, I definitely. What was the wine of the month subscription that you were part of? I think I may need to get hip to that.
Wall Street Journal,
Wall
which
Street Journal Wine Club.
yep.
Okay. Okay, shit. But yeah, nah, so yeah, Ray, I appreciate you for joining me today. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, pretty much everybody loves you. Everybody who I know,
Oh.
who I mention you to, really enjoys you. And today I think that what we'll be discussing mainly politically, I wanted to talk a little bit about how I think that the MAGA base, the MAGA chuds, the Trump fanatics, I don't think that's going anywhere anytime soon. I think that we're going to be looking at that. I mean, it's a continuation of the lost cause, in my
Yeah.
opinion. And then also, I think there's a lot to discuss just about growing up, because like I'm 30, I'm 31. You're not that far behind me. We're like 27, 26. How old are you?
25.
20. Okay, look, there you go. They're not far behind. But just kind of growing up in an online space such that a lot of what we learn how to do, or the advice that we receive, good or bad, comes online.
Yeah.
And ultimately how that's impacted us. And then just kind of the dumpster fire of the online dating advice that exists. But first, I wanted to take an honorary hit out of my dirty ass bong. You know what I'm saying? Before we get into everything. And Rayyvana over there sipping on some red wine, but you know what I'm saying? She got a whole glass full because she done with the day. Yep. There you
Yeah, I just finished my Rebel HQ video. You were talking about ages, and it reminded me that I just found out that the Libs of TikTok lady, Chaya Rychik, is only 28 years old. I read that today and I was like, ain't no way. Hate has to age a person because that woman physically does not have no, she's not passing as 28.
That's what the dark side does. It corrodes. It corrodes the flesh. That's what happened to Emperor Palpatine, Darth Sidious. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
That's what happened to all of them. And then, oh, that was a good ass hit. And then there was a book. I think it was. I can't remember. I think the book's just called Plagueis, but it's about Sidious's master. And he was asking him. He was like, "But the dark side makes you ugly," and he was like, "You shouldn't care about that. It's all about the power that you gain." So I guess that's what happens.
Jackson, I had no idea you were such a nerd.
I'm a huge I'm a huge nerd. Oh
I
yes.
have a bunch of Star Wars
Oh,
tattoos.
you got the Falcon on you. Okay, you got the Falcon, you got the Death Star, you got the what's that, the original tie. No, that's not the TIE fighter, is it? No.
Yeah, it
That's
is.
the X-Wing, or
Oh,
no.
I got the X-Wing and a TIE fighter coming out
And
of the
the
Death Star.
Oh, hell yeah. No, I'm a major nerd. Actually, on Thursdays I got a program that we're gonna be doing where we talking about all types of nerd shit. But oh yeah, the books are the best stories that I've come across with Star Wars. But oh yeah, we gonna be talking about plenty of stuff here. Opinions on the series, the characters, the philosophies. Oh yeah, I'm a huge nerd. But yeah, I think just hold on. What was you saying in terms of How do we get there? You said you were doing a Rebel HQ video. How do we get there? I don't remember. I just took a fat ass hit.
Yeah, I just fit that was I was done with my day. I finished my Real HQ video, but then you were talking about our ages and it just yeah, it just made me think about
Oh yeah, 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 yeah,
reading that
yeah.
today. I was like, because she called herself a young woman, and a bunch of people were like, "All right, we're doing a lot of heavy lifting here," and she was like, "I'm 28. That's young," and I audibly gasped when I read that she was 28. I was like, "There's no fucking way! Like that has to you have to be lying because you look, you know." You got to be in your 40s, ma'am.
You know that happens. You know, hatred can age you, and also too, you know what I'm saying, just stress in general. So if you up all the time battling people, going back and forth, so hey, you know, and it's interesting, you know, in regards to the lives of TikTok. You know, I think that kind of the space we're in, you see a lot of people rise really quickly and fall off. Just, I mean, that's not new. You know, being
Right.
trendy and then actually providing value and maybe being able to grow more slowly. But that kind of seems to be a lot of what we see in the popular like online dating space. And from what I've seen, the overwhelming majority of it is content made for men. There is content made for women, but it seems to just be less all encompassing and maybe like on TikTok. And there is some decent content, but you know, it's so much of it, in my opinion, taps into America's culture of opulence and entertainment.
Mhm.
And so, you know, if we as we've seen like the rise of, you know, podcasts like Fresh and Fit, the Andrew Tates, the Just Pearly things, and pretty much everybody in that sphere, it just seems like a further extension of everything else that we see. The Candace Owens is, you know, people in you know, the music space, you know, like Takashi 6 9s,
Mhm.
from the perspective of being ridiculous, you know, the shock value, and you know, all that really centerpiecing into where I think that, you know, the more and more you see young people growing up learning everything online, and kind of how we did, but less so now. You looking at teenagers, guys who are 21 22, repeating these red pill anthems, repeating these Andrew Tate you know, viewpoints like it's gospel, when really a lot of these people don't have any life experience.
Right,
You
right.
know what I'm saying? Like they
Especially the Fresh and Fit guys, like,
Yeah,
come on, man. Come on, Myron. Like, let's be serious, all right, buddy?
yeah,
They
and
they love telling tales about themselves. That is their favorite. Their and everything is so implausible that it really just sort of makes me sad for the guys who are like, "Oh, I can't believe he did that to a bitch." Like, no, he didn't. He
right, right, right,
didn't.
exactly. And what was it? Some of them, I think. There's what's the other one's name? Walter Weeks or something like that. That's his real name. But he, like, you know, I've slept with over 1,000 women, and that supposedly gives you like a stamp of like, therefore everything that I say you should listen to it. Therefore I
Right.
understand. You know, and again, like as you grow up and experience relationships of all different kinds, not just romantic ones, you really learn the importance of things like um you know, different people have different needs. Different people grew up different kinds of ways.
Mhm.
And how over time people's needs change, you know, like living with people, all types of stuff that you can tell these people just have not done. I think what's the dude's name? The Myron. I think the longest relationship he's ever been in is like 1 year or something like that. Which, I mean,
He's
that
like 40, right?
I mean, pushing that. I know he's older than me. I know he's older than me. I don't think by much. He's balding, which definitely goes
His
into.
hairline is hanging on by a thread for sure.
Yeah, yeah. That's one thing I'm glad about. That's why I can't cut these. You know what I'm saying? Because I never know when my time's gonna run out. But yeah, like, you know, for a guy who his longest relationship is 1 year, but he's pushing his mid 30s, for him to be like this beacon of wisdom and knowledge. And then Pearl. And I think one of the interesting things about Pearl, you know, again, she's in her mid 20s, never been in like, you know, she's never been married, doesn't have children, she's single now. She doesn't fit any of the standards that she is always pushing. She's a working
Right.
woman, she's been had money. Um, And it's interesting how so much of the manosphere just really picked her up. But what do you think? And like, because I think that perhaps we're both work in this internet space, so we see a lot of this. But do you feel like women see as much of this content as men do, just in a sense of like, because a lot of young men talk about it and are familiar with it. When
Mhm.
younger women hear it, or when women hear it, is it still kind of like, what the hell is red pill? Like, who are these people? What is all of this about? Or do you think that it's kind of crossed over into that space to where women are like just aware of it now?
I think that there's a lot of women who are aware of it in the like, oh, I got to stay away, just in like a sense of self preservation. I have to stay away from guys who talk like this because they're going to prey upon me if I
Yeah.
let them in. And like, of course, it's not marketed to us because any woman, I mean, and the guys will love to say, oh, but look at like Fresh and Fit. They're always surrounded by these beautiful girls. And I'm not going to hate on the women that go on their podcast, but most of them are Instagram models and most of them are OnlyFans girls who have a brand that they need to promote. And the people who watch that podcast, lo and behold, are the audience. Those are the people who are going to pay for their content. So, I mean, I wish they wouldn't support that kind of like disgusting hate towards women, but you got to get your bag. So, I'll leave
Hey,
them be.
yeah, and that's like a good hustle too, because there have been like, like a lot of mashups where they show like the OnlyFans models will go on there, and in the chat they're getting bashed and they're talking all that smack about them, but then like they go home and they just got like 2 or 3 thousand additional monthly subscribers.
Right.
And those monthly subscribers are paid. You feel me? $5, $10, $20, whatever it is, they could be standing on cheesecakes or farting in jars or like all types of crazy shit. And I always joke about that. If you ever fall back on tough times and you a lady, you feel me? That can go a long way. Blair, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Thank you so much. Yes, we gonna keep this thing going. I know me and Ray, we definitely. Oh, and Aaron, thank you for the $5 super chat from you as well. But yeah, no, today me and Aaron, we just hopping on, you know what I'm saying? I mean, me and Ray, we just hopping on. We just talking about some stuff, but I think that we'll definitely be able to make some great content, just chopping it up about things that are going on. But thank you so much for the support.
I'll say as a woman and as a woman who dates women, like hearing this advice that they're giving, I just can't stop laughing. Like it is so far removed from the truth of like what women are seeking. And again, like you pointed out, they're taking this relationship advice from people who are not in relationships, who have had no success in the long-term relationships in their life. And like no hate to people who have long-term relationships and break up, or because it's hard to be, yeah, I've been in a relationship for 3 years now. It's not always easy, but for a lot of people, they get divorced, things happen. But these are people, these are guys who definitely have no credibility on speaking on the subject of successful relationships. I also think that so many of these guys who watch this content, they don't even realize that they don't even necessarily really want a relationship. They're fucking lonely. Half of them, I think, if they just cleaned up a little bit and just went out and made some friends, guys, girls, whatever it is, that they'd be a lot happier in their lives than they are watching this shit and saying nasty things about people on the internet.
Yeah, and I think a good point that you raised about just being lonely is because a lot of the residual audience is it's the community. It's people coming back. Just like
Mhm.
just like anywhere else. People who gather for political reasons, entertainment reasons, but in a lot of ways it's entertainment. And two, it's funny as well because I think it's so prevalent how untalented the people in this space are, because
Yes.
if they're not like kicking women out or bashing them or saying something crazy, not only is their audience down, but the engagement's down and they're not really talking about anything.
Right.
Because it's like everybody goes through difficult things in so many areas of life, but it's like these guys for whatever relate. Myron's been in one relationship that was a year long, and you know the wisdom that they come out on the other side with is always just like fuck these hoes. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Like it's never like, well, sometimes you may have to do a little bit of a selection process. Maybe you need to do a bit of inward looking. there's never anything that of real value that it's like, oh, okay, these people don't have any emotional intelligence. They just really a bunch of little boys.
Right. I
You
remember
know,
one time Myron stormed out of the room and it was so funny I don't remember the other guy's name, but he had to sit there because he's not the one that speaks. He's Myron's bitch on the
Walter,
phone.
yeah,
Yeah.
Walter, yeah,
He's just
he
sitting
can
there
barely speak. Yeah,
unsure what to do. And like Myron walked out because he threw a hissy fit because one of the girls was like, I actually don't think it's okay that you think you can cheat on your woman and she has to stay home and care for your every need like a mother. Like, that's fucked up. You're fucked up for thinking that. And he pissed his pants, ran out crying. Like, he was so angry and he storms back in and he gets in her face and he's like, get out, which is, I think, so emblematic of how pathetic these guys are that like he has to feel big and strong by like putting down women, like women who are
yeah.
smaller than him, getting in their faces, like acting like he acted like he was gonna hit that woman if she didn't get out of his studio, which is like, she called you on your bullshit and you literally could not handle it. You stormed out of here and left your friend defenseless. This man who I don't know if he could form a coherent sentence, you left him all
Not
alone.
really, right? Not really. He be not for real. He barely can. But they'll never do that with guys though. Like
Right.
they never hold the same type of energy with men. And I think that one of the biggest marks of immaturity for me. I mean, like I'm still relatively young, but like at 31, and I've lived in, I've done a lot in my life. I have a lot of experience, and one of the key indicators of a man having low levels of experience with women, or at least experience that really ain't worth a damn, is I fucked a lot of girls. I done slept with a lot of girls. I fucked a lot of bitches. Like, I mean, you can go pay for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you really
Right.
can go buy that. But ultimately, I think that being in a variety of situations that I've been in, I'm in a relationship now. It's not a traditional style one. My girlfriend is also gay. She's bisexual, but I've been in two other serious relationships before this one. I've dated a lot of women, and I've come a long way in my attitude. Just in realizing too, like just your own immaturity, your own inner wounds, and all, and then misogyny that you pick up along the way, just from so many, just advertisement and marketing that's
Right.
everywhere around you, and then kind of growing out of that. And yeah, I've lived the first serious relationship I was in. We were together for 3 years. We lived together. I've dated doctors, strippers, all types of women. You know what I'm saying? And now I'm in a unique situation that I never really planned for, but it ended up working out. But one of the biggest things that you come to realize, at least for me, is like so much of relations and dating, especially when you really get to know people, so much of it is you dealing with yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
Right.
because ultimately, it really ain't that serious.
Exactly.
You, you,
I feel I say that all the time when people are like so hung up on like, oh, I'll never get a girlfriend or I'll never get a boyfriend or a partner or whatever. I'm like, if that's what you want, you will get one. Like, you can't sit here and mope all the like, and if it doesn't happen, I don't know, like, it doesn't happen. Just have people around you who you love. Like, it's not that serious. And I always say that when I think about how I used to be so dramatic in my relationships. Like when I was in college or high school, back then I was like the most dramatic person. I was, anytime there was a breakup or like anytime we had a fight, I'd be like, oh my God, the world is ending. And I realized now, like, there is growing up people have to do because now I just never feel like that. I'm like, if things happen, I'll be fine either way. Like, or like a fight is not the end of the world. People heal, things get patched over. It's no problem. But back then it was like the way I would spiral. I'm like, thank God every day I'm not that person anymore because it just plagues your mind so much. So I feel bad on the one hand for people like that, but I think people need to accept that you get older and you become more serious and you become less dramatic, as it were.
yeah, and for me, like I definitely, and as for me, a lot of it has to do just growing up, being by myself a lot. Dealing with like a lot of anxiety, and I've never was like pressing, like anxious to the point where I was like causing trouble, like like that. but dealing with it in yourself, like, oh, what if this doesn't, go right, or if it doesn't, needing that control over where you think things are going. And I think that a lot of what allows you to realize that things aren't so serious is when you kind of understand what's going on inside of you. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, we no longer live in the wild. We no longer live in tribal communities. Like our connections, are still very important, but they no longer necessarily keep us alive. You feel me? Like, so
Right.
I think that one of the things that allows you to have just better relations with people is if you can just calm down and then allow for the passion to be there, but really develop a genuine partnership with somebody. Like, we work well together in this way.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Because over time, your needs and your needs for each other change. So, like, you just gonna keep getting with somebody new and breaking up and getting with somebody new and breaking up. Like, there's just so many ways to go about dating in the modern world, that you don't have to put so much of yourself into it. And that
Mhm.
seems to be all that to say. That seems to be the crux of what a lot of the red pill messaging is. It's like how to prevent yourself from enjoying women and
Right.
enjoying love and enjoying the process. You always have to be cold and stoic. And it's like, no, it's more strong and powerful to be able to enjoy it without losing yourself.
Right. It is. The messaging is so much like never ever search for answers inside yourself. If anything goes wrong, it's a bitch's fault. That's on her. It's not on you. But like, I think of it. I think about it. I was thinking about it all day today, actually, because when we talked this morning about what we were going to talk about, and I think like the best advice I could give to like a man about, who maybe has trouble dating would be, the red pill guys like to tell you, you got to be like buff, you got to be chatted up or whatever, right? You got to, go to the gym every single day, which actually studies have proven women don't care about that as much as these men are telling you they do. One thing women really care about is one, that you have friends. They want to know that you're not like a weirdo who's going to expect so much out of them that they have to be every aspect of your life. We want to know that you can have regular relationships with people, the non-sexual relationships with people. And
Yeah.
two, we just want to see that you care about yourself. You don't have to be like an Adonis. You don't have to be a Greek god. You just have to show that you care enough to, be cognizant. We want to know that you're going to brush your teeth. We want to know that we're not going to have to play mommy for you and clean up after you. We just want to know that you respect yourself to a level where, you care about, you don't have to go to the gym every day. You just go for a walk or ride your bike or some shit like that. Just some level of respect for yourself. And women too, some level of respect for yourself.
Yeah.
You'll find that dating comes a lot more naturally.
Yeah, yeah, and it's amazing too. Like, when you simplify everything like that. Like, I mean, for the most part, if women feel comfortable around you and they like to be around you, then mostly everything else is just you overthinking it and getting in your
Right.
own way. You know what I mean? Because, like, it's interesting too from that perspective of, like, all of us are visual creatures, men and women. Whether it's looking at people or looking at nice art, nice designs. Like, it's so we're all into aesthetics, but just because you enjoy looking at something doesn't necessarily mean much more than that.
Right.
Like, it could be, oh, that looks really nice on a screen, or, oh, he's really handsome. But I think that one thing that people do, and especially that gets mixed in the messaging in these communities, is people don't really think about the actual process of dating and getting to, like, it's nice to think about stuff and fantasize about things, but like, you could be really good looking, but if women will get turned off like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're just kind of ugh. And I always
Yeah.
use that example with myself because, like, I'm aesthetically like what people would prefer, like, stereotypically, but not necessarily for everybody. Like, like, I'm to this and to that for a lot of women. A lot of women find me obnoxious, or a lot of people, or just don't, like, or into dark skinned men, or you know what I mean? Or a lot of women, in fact, do like dad bods. Or women will be like, oh, he's too feminine, like, he's too, like, pretty. I don't like that. like so much of it is just dudes getting in their own way. And some of the lamest guys I've ever met in my life who do the worst with women got a lot of money. They got a lot of money and they think that it's just gonna go a long way. But where do you think this community is going though? Because like, misogyny is not disappearing.
Right.
It's not going anywhere. But it seems that a lot of the people within this community are either just kind of getting too old for it.
Mhm.
Like you in your mid 30s pushing 40s, like look at me in the club, like it's just not that cool. And a lot of them are getting exposed for just being, dingbats.
Right. I
You
know
know,
Myron just got exposed for sexually assaulting a woman. Like
oh,
exposed, he lifted up her shirt in public and exposed her and then laughed at her breasts. Like, first of all, what are you, 6? Like, how old are you that you pulled up someone's shirt and then just pointed and laughed? What kind of person? I mean, we know what
well,
kind of
it's
person he
Myron
is.
Gaines, right? It's
Right.
Myron Gaines. That's what kind of person it is.
But as far as like where it's going, I think a lot of people have misdiagnosed the problem, right? They see these guys as like instilling misogyny versus what they're really doing is they're tapping in on it. This is a market because like you said, there's so much ingrained misogyny that people, from birth till death, it's you're having these misogynistic ideas. Both men and women reaffirm to you through our institutions and our education, in so many aspects of our lives that they've really picked up on something. And what the issue is people are more comfortable, I think, in the last few years talking about it and expressing these heinous opinions than maybe they have been in more recent history. But I think that this is eventually the way that it'll fizzle out is it'll be cringe. It'll be too cringe if you watch it that people will just stop watching it. But
Death
I
by
think if
popularity,
Right.
basically.
I think that if we really need to like solve the issue, it starts with, undoing, sexism and misogyny as it's as we're socialized, right? Stop, giving boys, tools as toys to teach them that they can be engineers and putting them, giving them all the cool jobs to play make believe as when they're kids and, stop forcing baby dolls on girls so that they think they're only destined to be mothers. And, it's the way that parents coddle their boy children and expect more responsibility out of their girl children. And so I think
Yeah.
it's a huge undergoing. It's a massive project to fix this. There's little ways that all of us can do it in our personal lives. But yeah, I think that as far as like longevity and as far as the power of community, these channels don't have that. They've not built a community on any sort of like, the things that we build community on, mutual respect with our audience. And that's not there.
Yeah,
So,
and a great and a broader mission that everybody can tap into,
right.
which also, as you point out, is not there. Because if they were improving, then those communities would shrink. Because the message, and how many times can you say modern women suck? How many times can you say that before it's like, oh, okay, before a lot of the people watching it grow out of it, like you pointed out. But yeah, I think that just in terms of this space, and a lot of what's sold with Andrew Tate is just the general capitalism, the general opulence. Look at me and all my money and all my stuff and all the people around me. I think that's what really allowed the red pill space to grow. And for wherever it goes, I think that'll continue to be what carries it.
Mhm.
Because I think that in to close out for me in this area, really what you learn as you start to actually have more success, and by success I just mean like healthy relationships with people in the dating market, is that sure, men and women have a little bit of differences, especially physically, but for the most part, nah, like people are just people. You know what I mean? And,
Right.
and the more that you just, realize that, there's really not that much difference. There's not a huge game to figure out. Like, you don't have to figure out some crazy perfect strategy and approach. Then your tribe will find you. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
the type of people who you vibe with the best. You'll find them and they'll find you. You don't got to worry about everybody else. So
Mhm.
that for me, that's kind of been what's allowed me to have more of a healthy dating life, is just, you know, letting myself, honestly. So, but that's interesting though, because that kind of ties into it's all connected in some kind of way. But just this MAGA crowd, the MAGA cult, the Trump base, that despite the fact that this dude, before he even entered office, was a lifelong financial criminal,
Right.
um ripping people off, dodging taxes, bankruptcies, all of that, twice impeached, now four-time indicted.
Four
And it's like, and still, they're with him, which to me is all the indication that they're not going to turn their backs on him ever. They're going to be whining and griping and complaining about this for years to come. So, what do you even think is going to happen, like in 2024 and after 2024? Like, what the hell is the Republican Party going to do without this man?
It's so crazy because when you think about it, right, the primary's over. Trump won. He's miles ahead of every other candidate. It's not even close. I think I'm excited to watch the debates because let's be realistic. There was no Republican primary for the last election. He was the incumbent. Those Republican debates in 16, funny as fuck.
Yeah.
I did enjoy watching
And if he
them.
shows up, everybody gonna watch him again.
Right, right. And that it'll be fun, it'll be entertainment, it'll be bad for the country, good for entertainment.
Yeah.
But I think that they really do have this problem. Like Donald Trump is not the healthiest man in the world. He doesn't win in 2024. I don't think he's making it I don't think physically he'll be able to run in 2028.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
No. No.
yeah, so I think that they've really fucked themselves because they've let this man dictate what the party does. Everything, their policy, their platform entirely has just been whatever the fuck Trump wants it to be. So they've really prevented themselves and, from creating an identity once he's not the president. They fucked themselves in allowing any other candidate but him to become their candidate in the general, right? They've created this self-defeating base of supporters that they are not allowed to criticize or go against because it will be politically devastating for them, which is, I think, embarrassing, but I think that it just shows how self-defeating this party has become, which, I'm not mad at it. I
Right.
love for
Right.
them to fuck themselves over.
Right. Right. Exactly. It just makes a possibility for sensible policies to get through. And also, one thing I always point out is, a lot of these people who we're always complaining about are like literally 80. So like their
Right.
time's up. It's our time now. Like
Mhm.
literally our time to be in these managerial positions, both in politics and in the corporate world. But yeah, I think that it's clear that they really have fucked themselves. Lindsey Graham, when he said, it's so iconic that he's literally said, if we let Trump take over this party, it'll be the end of us. And it's been the
Right.
truth through and through, because at the end of the day, we don't live in a monarchy, we don't live in an aristocracy or a dictatorship. Donald Trump, I mean, when you see him and he ain't got the orange makeup on, he looks like he's about to keel over, like he's
Right.
melting off the bone.
Those Diet Pepsi
Yeah, right.
catching up to him, all that McDonald's. I remember reading an article about how they were eating so much McDonald's in the Oval Office that like the interns couldn't even be in there because it smelled so bad from all of the garbage.
That's
Like it
disgusting.
is I've never even heard of that. Like that is fucking vile.
I
Like this
mean, McDonald's now, I'm 31 and I'm in great health, and McDonald's now will make me like,
yeah.
like being 70, like just keep it coming. Just keep the fish fillets coming. Just keep it down.
It's crazy. He had a personal chef the whole time he was president. All this motherfucker wants to eat is fast food.
Right, shit. Yeah, I mean, and again, I think that goes to show as well how stupid he is. Like, he was the most powerful man on the planet for a couple of years, and he did like nothing with it.
Right.
Like nothing at all with it. He ate McDonald's, he made cheap deals, he played golf, he didn't do anything unique. But yeah, no, that they have completely branded themselves after Donald Trump. So they can't just make a 180 and go to the left.
Mhm.
It's not like every Republican is a Marjorie Taylor Greene or Lauren Boebert, but still, they're so steep into nothing but culture war,
Yeah.
and it's just entertainment. It's just owning the libs, and I mean, yeah, I don't even know what to say. What I think is going to happen with them, other than they're in a terrible position.
Right. And
I really don't even know what to say.
it's interesting to think like who are the young thought leaders of the Republican Party, because I mean, like, who's supposed to take the mantle next? You look at Ron DeSantis and what he's doing in Florida. Those exact policies are what didn't give them a massive victory in the midterms, which by all projections they should have had, right? They were
Yeah,
supposed to win big and they absolutely did not, because all they could talk about was trans people and gay book club or whatever the fuck it was,
yeah,
and it didn't resonate with people the way that they expected it to, because people are not as bigoted as they think that they are. Like, not to say that the average person doesn't hold some asinine opinions that are
yeah,
harmful, but
yeah,
like, people are not like, gosh, I want to kill trans people the way that all of this fucking Republican Party thinks that they are. So, and Marjorie Taylor Greene, same boat. She's culture war all day, and it's not doesn't she's a good fundraiser for the party, but she's not the every woman, she's not the every man that the people relate to. you know
hmm
eh, eh, Lauren Boebert almost lost her election. The young Madison Cawthorn lost his election, lost his primary race.
Ted Cruz might be up out of here.
Right.
Which, well,
So
let's cheer that on.
right.
He got two Democrats, and he got a pack called the Lose Cruise Pack. So definitely go donate whatever you can to the Lose Cruise Pack. Let's get this man the f up out of here. But yeah, no, that's 100%. And to me, other than Donald Trump representing that barrier between far right wing white Republicans, mostly older, um, he's their barrier from the country becoming more brown and more gay.
Right.
Other than that, there's literally nothing to be hanging on to this man for. And they
Mhm.
say it out loud. They say it out loud all the time. They say we're losing our country. We got to take our country back. Joe Biden, they with the Democrats and these open borders, they just want these people to come in and take everything over. All these gay people, all these drags, like they say it out loud. It's not a secret. They're not
Right.
talking about policy in terms of wages, or I mean, if you bring that up, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, that does matter." But that's not what they screaming and complaining about. So in my view, it seems that I just don't see Trump winning re-election in 2024. I just don't. I don't see the country being like, let's try this again. I could be wrong, but we still got some time left to go. But
Right. I
I
think it'll be interesting. I wish it wasn't Joe Biden running against him.
yeah,
But it doesn't instill a lot of confidence in me. But I think that it gives the Democrats the ability to once again run on, we're not doing shit for you, but we're not Trump. So at least things won't get a lot worse, right? Which I think, let's be realistic, it's not like it hasn't worked in the past. It's not even a bad strategy. People, especially the core base of the Democratic Party and even independents, are scared of Donald Trump. They do not want him to be president again. So, you got something going for you in that regard. But I mean, Joe Biden also just did that fucking, he gave $700 to the victims in Hawaii, a one-time seven. Like, come on, man, you got to do something for us. You got to do
yeah.
fucking something for us.
And I think that 2024, that hey, well, at least we're not the Republicans. I think that's kind of it for that
Right.
approach. And a lot of it is because it's it for that branch of politicians. A lot of what we're seeing is that Reagan, Bill Clinton era coming to its final close.
Hmm.
And so I think that in 2028, we're going to see a lot of opportunity just for new, fresh faces at every level of the federal government. But also, I think it's important that we really, and a lot of what I'm going to be doing with this channel as it continues to grow, is focusing on community initiatives, getting things passed through city council, really focusing on smaller elections because change happens quicker there.
Right.
And we're just going to be in a stalemate, in the federal government for so long. But yeah, I mean, the certain factors of the country, they've been griping and complaining, and they never got over the fact that the Confederacy lost the Civil War. And it seems that I don't think that that really is going to change much in regards to this batch of older white Republicans who are watching Trump go down. Colin, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Yes, yes, it's the Blues Clues. They just whining and crying. That's exactly what it is. Thank you so much. But yeah, I mean, I think that for me, I'm like, okay, well, to not go crazy and I mean, talking about Trump and stuff kind of gets old after a while. So let's do our best to focus on the smaller elections. But yeah, so what are that those are kind of my final closing thoughts just in terms of what I think is going on with the MAGA base. I think they're here to stay. I think that long after 2024, they're gonna be whining and griping and complaining about Donald Trump. When Donald Trump passes away, he probably gonna have a massive funeral.
There's gonna be a huge conspiracy about it. Like, we've seen this man not take care of himself in the public eye for, some 80 years now, but whenever he dies, it'll be like, "Oh, the deep state got him." They
Right. Either
finally
that or not, he gonna end up living another 30 years just because somehow that's
just
how
out of
that always
spite.
goes down. Right. That's how that always goes down.
Right.
But yeah, I agree. I think that a lot of as well in terms of the red pill community, I think a lot of that is kind of death by popularity and death by cringe, and we'll just see it morph into another shape and form.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think that we're gonna have really good streams when we come on here. Especially we get the hang of it. You know what I'm saying? We start promoting it and stuff like that, and just have fun topics, get everybody involved. But again, I really appreciate your time today, and I'm looking forward to doing this more often with you. And I appreciate everybody for joining us because again, we just hopped on. You know what I'm saying? This community is strong and growing, and me and Ray we looking to do this on Tuesdays. And I gotta get on your Twitch. We gotta come on your Twitch show for
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
Yeah, hell yeah. All right, you got any closing words or we all good?
I guess in the end, I would just say, sorry, I was reading an email out of the corner of my eye.
You good?
I guess at the end, I would just say, the Democrats need to stop thinking that they can win over these Trump voters. This
Yeah.
motherfucker's been impeached 4 times now. These people have no sense. Okay, these people are not going to suddenly wake up and say, "Oh fuck." I can't. This man is a criminal. I can't believe I supported it. They support him. They're ride or die. He said he could shoot someone in the middle of Fifth Avenue and they'd still support him. And he was fucking right. They would. Don't try to appeal to them. Rally your base. Get the independence. That's how you'll win this election.
Yes, 100%. But yeah, definitely. I appreciate all of y'all for joining me. Ray, you have a good rest of the night. I'll be texting you soon, and looking forward to doing this more. And again, peace and love to everybody.